Hello everyone, it's your favorite realtor, Erica Hernandez with RE/MAX Top Realty. Alright guys, I'm taking you on the road again. I know I've been like super swamped and I actually enjoy these videos and I'm hoping you enjoy them too. But I'm gonna take you out today. I have a ton of things to do as a very busy realtor in a very busy hot market. So I invite you in. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Erica. I'm a realtor here in the Houston area. I work for RE/MAX Top Realty and I help buyers, sellers, investors, and even people that want to become a realtor. I put out a bunch of videos that are very informative. And that has a lot to do with me being a teacher before. So I love to teach all things real estate and I invite you. The topic for today is flood zones. If you would like to learn more, please stay tuned. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Erica Houston Realtor, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And go to my website at www.erikahoustonrealtor.com. All right, guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you about flood zones. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we have been getting so much darn rain here in Houston. I saw a post recently that someone said like, do I live in Houston or do I live in the rainforest? Like, because it does feel like every single day it's raining and sometimes like more severe than others. It's just been so crazy. And like even when it rains, I have to show houses. Like I still have my appointments with sellers and with buyers, so showing people houses. And even though like sometimes it's a little too severe, like it's raining really bad, and I will cancel my appointments just because I'm scared of like getting stuck out there in flooded areas. And the reason it's like really good to see houses when it's raining is because you can see if there's any drainage problems. So like if they have a lot of water standing in their backyard. I might even put some pictures of like some houses I showed this week that like literally the backyard was a pool. Like it was so full of water. That is really bad news for a buyer because that standing water, I mean, you're talking like foundation issues probably in the future and like bugs, and just you can't enjoy your backyard and you'll have to wait until everything dries out. It's just like a bad problem. So I love to show houses when it's raining. It's not a problem for me. Granted, you're gonna see like my hair look like a hot mess if it gets wet, so I'll try to like put my raincoat on and like the hoodie and everything, but it's hard to look cute like when it rains anyway. All right, so going back to the point of this video, which is flood zones, I soon learned when I got into real estate to not say like a house is either in a flood zone or not in a flood zone. I learned to tell people like this house is either in a low flood area or flood zone or a high risk flood zone. So in low area flood zones, those are your zone X. And they're low risk because probably it's never flooded there before, and two, it doesn't require actual flood insurance. So if you have a loan and if you're in a high risk flood zone, you have to carry flood insurance. In the high zones, there's zones like AE, V, I think there's AU, there's several, I'll name them. I'll put the details here once I put this video out. But yeah, there's like high risk zones and you definitely don't want to be in those high risks. Now, the reason I'm talking about it today is because you can choose to buy a house that is in a high risk zone. You just have to carry extra insurance, which will push your mortgage up. Now, in a lot of cases, if your mortgage is in a comfortable place and adding the flood insurance is not going to push you too high, then you'll be okay. Like if it's an area you really love. For example, I live in a high risk flood area and we do pay about $1,500 a year for this insurance. So our monthly payment really only goes up by $100. If we didn't have to carry it, it would be $100 less. And so anyway, the house that we live in, we just love the area. Like we can't imagine moving from the area. We really like it and we're super attached to our home. So I'm okay with it. And you know, the whole neighborhood obviously is in a high risk flood zone and they're okay with it too. I mean, it has a lot to do with like preference on area and where do you want to live? So for us, even though we are in a high risk zone, it still fits our budget. So if you want an area that is a high risk flood zone, if it still fits your budget, go for it. I never tell people not to buy in high risk zones. I just educate you guys, and I'll tell you, okay, buying in this area is going to cost you on average like $100 more. Now, in some high risk flood zones that have flooded multiple times, those people are probably paying like close to $3,000 a year for flood insurance, which now could mean that your mortgage is actually $200 to $250 a month higher than it would if you didn't have to carry flood insurance. So I did want to talk about that. Now, it gets super complicated because some high risk flood zone areas have never flooded. So those areas might be a little bit cheaper. Also, to add on to that, when you have a house that you're interested in a high flood zone area, you have to get an elevation certificate. So what is that? All that tells us is how elevated your house is compared to one, like your entire street, two, compared to like the entire neighborhood. And they use that calculation to see if your home is likely to flood. And so if it seems like your house is like on a somewhat of a dip in the neighborhood, then your insurance may be more expensive. But if you seem to be higher than everyone else around you, for example, they say like the middle houses of the entire street tend to be a little higher on elevation, you might get credits for that. So they'll say, well, you're higher than the neighbors, so your insurance is going to be a little bit cheaper. So that happens too, so pay attention to that. A lot of times, like the corner houses, although corner houses are super popular, they tend to have most of the flooding happening if it's super low. And so lots of things to consider if you are considering to buy a home in a high risk flood zone. As we learned with Harvey, crazy things happened, and even if you are in a low risk flood zone, we still recommend you get flood insurance, because although you're not a high risk and it's not highly possible, it actually can happen, just like it did in Harvey. So a lot of people that were in low risk flood zone X still got some flood damages, and if they didn't have that flood insurance, they pretty much like lost a lot of money. So even if you are in a low risk flood zone, we still recommend for you to get flood insurance. It's actually really cheap if you are not required to have it. It keeps going up every year, but I think it's safe to say, I mean, right now we're 2021, I think it's around $500 a year for flood insurance. And so if you never have to use it, cool. And if one day something crazy happens, like another Harvey or something super nuts like that, then you're covered. So I always say, like, just pay for it now, because it could actually cost you way more later if you don't do what you need to do now. I don't know if that makes sense. If you take away anything from today's video, is knowing that it's not correct to say, are you in a flood zone or not? You should be asking or telling people, like, what flood zone are you in? Because we are all in flood zones here in Houston, and it's just important to know that the low risk zones are probably what most people like. Y'all, like, it's raining. I know you can see it in the background here. I wish it would just like stop raining for a whole week, so I can just enjoy the sun. Although, I mean, I don't love hot days either as a realtor. Like, I get all sweaty and sticky and feel like I'm stinky. I do carry like deodorant and perfume all the time, just in case. Like, I don't want to smell super bad in front of people. But yeah, like, I wanted to bring this up because it's just been like super rainy, and I know flood zones is a conversation that normal people don't just have, and I thought I'd just bring it up. If you are interested in a house that is in a high risk flood zone, don't be afraid to move forward with it. Just know the facts. Know that it's going to cost you just a tiny bit more than it would anywhere else. But if the area is convenient for you, you want to be near your family, maybe the school that you really like, and it's a high risk zone, like, just don't be discouraged. Just do your research, know how much it's going to cost you before you actually move forward with it. I did want to point something out actually. So all the people that are in a high risk flood zone that had flood insurance, when Harvey happened, this is crazy to me. Like, some of those people that had houses flood really bad for Harvey, they ended up getting like money from the insurance for, flood, if they had flood damages. So depending on like what was covered. So normally with flood insurance, like they'll cover the structure and then they'll also cover the contents. So everything that you had in your home that was flooded out and affected by the flood will be covered. So for Harvey, what I saw, it's so crazy. People got the money from the flood insurance for all the contents and like the structure. So they got a pretty hefty check, and then so they turned around and sold the house cash to other people, mostly investors. If you were to add what these people got from the insurances, and if you were to add what they got from the sale for selling the house cash, like flooded as is, they actually made more money than the house was worth on the market. So to me, I don't think it's such a scary thing. Like, as long as you have insurance, like everything is going to be covered. Granted, like nothing will ever help pay for the trauma that you go through when you're flooding. It's like so crazy, and I've seen it, and it's just really sad to see. But just know, like, as long as you're protected, you can get your money back. Like, you won't lose anything. You'll just, there's time, and you'll lose time and things like that. Overall, like if there's another Harvey or like a huge hurricane coming to Houston, you won't really like lose a lot of money as long as you're covered. So the most important thing that you can do for yourself, if you are in a high risk or in a low risk flood zone, is get flood insurance for yourself. Do yourself a favor, do that immediately. If you don't have flood insurance right now because it's not required, I encourage you to call someone, get a quote, and get your flood insurance. Really, everyone should have flood insurance for their home, because you just never know. Like, it was Harvey in the past, what is it gonna be next? Like, something super crazy could happen and we get a ton of water, our homes are flooded. Like, even if you're not in high risk, you should still get flood insurance. I thought I'd educate you today on flood zones. I hope you learned something from today's video, and if you guys need any help purchasing a home, selling your home, if you need information about flood zones, if you need information about interest rates, whatever you need, you guys know I'm here to help you. I do appreciate you guys staying with me to watch this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other videos. Give me a like, put a comment down below. All of that stuff will essentially help me, and spread the word. Share this video with somebody that you know that's possibly thinking about purchasing or is currently, shopping around. Even if I'm not their realtor, anything I can give you that will help you out it's satisfying for me. I hope that you have an amazing and productive work week. Whatever goals you have, keep pushing, keep reaching your goals. And my goals are always to help as many people as possible. So your referrals are amazing to me. I love getting referrals from you guys, and thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys soon. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification, leave me a comment. All of that will help me out. It doesn't take much, just a few minutes of your time. I do appreciate it. And again, I'll see you guys next week. Stay safe and stay dry.